What's up, guys? My name is Jerry, and today's video is going to be on the Detroit Pistons, and we're going to be talking about how they got better at the NBA trade deadline, and we're going to jump right into the video and looking at the Detroit Pistons so far this season. They have a record of 12-44, and we're currently 15th in the Eastern Conference. So as you guys know, we had a lot of glaring issues to address at the trade deadline, and there was a multitude of ways that we could have gotten better. There's a bunch of things that we could have improved on, and I feel like Troy Weaver, Dwayne Casey, I feel like they pulled the trigger on a trade that that made us significantly better at the trade line. And that was something that we had to something that we addressed was our lack of size in our front court and our lack of athleticism and our lack of rim protection. And the Detroit Pistons, they got involved in a four-team deal that ultimately sent away Josh Jackson and Trey Lyles. And I don't think we gave up too much giving up those two guys. Trey Lyles is an old vet in this league. Not really doesn't really make nobody around him better. Josh Jackson, tried to give him a chance to revamp his career, but just very inconsistent. So we ended up sending away those two guys, and we ultimately ended up getting Marvin Bagley the third. And I think it's a very underrated pickup, because this is a guy that's he was drafted ahead of Luka Doncic. That's what type of upside people thought he had. He's only 23 years of age, so he fits right in with this team as far as when it comes to like a young and up and coming team. And not only that, he's 6'11", 235 pounds, so he give us that size that we're lacking. And before we get into his game and how he actually does make the Detroit Pistons better, I just want to say that I feel like he's a very underrated player who hasn't really had the opportunity to showcase how good he is. I don't know if you guys kept up with the Sacramento Kings, but there was a time where him and the coaching staff in the front office of the Sacramento Kings wasn't seeing eye to eye, and they decided not to play him. So a lot of stuff went on in Sacramento that I think catered to him not tapping into his full potential. And now coming into Detroit, now he has a fresh start, and I think he's going to open up a lot of things for the Detroit Pistons, and vice versa. I think the Detroit Pistons are going to open up a lot of things for Marvin Bagley. And the first thing is the pick and roll game. I think the pick and roll game is going to get a lot better whether Marvin Bagley is coming off the bench or he's starting. And I think he's going to come off the bench. I was reading something that said the Pistons wanted him. They're probably going to have him come off the bench for the rest of the season. Something in his contract, I think, if he come off the bench for the rest of the season, it'll benefit the Detroit Pistons financially. So, but when he is out there on the court, the pick and roll game, is going to be so nice, especially when it's Cade Cunningham and Marvin Bagley running the pick and roll. I think with the type of attention that Cade draws, Marvin Bagley is going to get a lot of, he's going to get a lot of slips, a lot of rolls to the basket. That's going to be easy. And Marvin Bagley is a guy that's, he's very good at finishing around the rim. On this season alone, shots, 3 feet and closer to the basket, he's finishing at, 70% from the 70% from the floor from that range, and that's pretty decent. And then, not only that, but when you get a guy that keep rolling to the basket like that, it makes you have to play the pick and roll more honestly. You can't keep blitzing. You can't keep blitzing K, because now you got an actual threat. Now you got an actual threat that can roll to the basket and be a live threat. And can finish at the rim really hard. And it doesn't only open up Marvin Bagley and Cade Cunningham's game. Because there's a bunch of ways you can try to stop that. A defense might just play that head up, or they might start rotating. You never know. They might start rotating from the corner if the corner man help. Cade Cunningham is a smart enough passer to, be able to, hit that corner man that's wide open for a three, whether it's Frank Jackson or Sadiq Bey or, whoever's, spotting up in that corner. So, that's one way he's going to open it up. And then also with Killian Hayes, running the pick and roll with Marvin Bagley too, that's also, going to open up a lot of things for him. And we all know that, Killian Hayes needs all the help he can get right now to help him put his game together, because I think he has one of the biggest tool sets as a young and up and coming player in this league. He just needs to, harness it and put it together. So that's one way in the pick and roll. And another thing that Dwayne Casey loves to do is the dribble handoff. And with the dribble handoff, Marvin Bagley, a lot of the times, depending on who he's doing it with, like if it's Cade Cunningham, the defense isn't going to have no choice but to switch, because he's so good of a shooter and he's so good of a, driver of the basketball. And that dribble handoff just puts the on-ball defender, at a disadvantage, whether he's going over or under it. A lot of the times it's just easier to switch it. So, when the defense does switch, now Marvin Bagley has a smaller defender on him. He can walk him down, post him up, post him up. That's an easy finish for him. And then on the flip side of that, Marvin Bagley, I know a lot of the times you guys see it in the NBA, they have faked the dribble handoff and go and drive themselves. And Marvin Bagley is a guy that's skilled enough to do that. At 6'11", 235, he's a guy that's able to put the basketball, on the floor. And he's a guy that's able to put the basketball on the floor and drive to the rim. Marvin Bagley, he has a multitude of finishes. He even has a Euro step to his back. Like, this guy is really good. I promise you. Just, in Sacramento, he just wasn't seeing eye to eye, with that team. But, that's another way, he can put the ball on the floor. He has face-up game. He's pretty skilled. And, his jump shot isn't the best. But, over these last couple of years, seen him knock down a few open jumpers. I'm pretty sure the Detroit Pistons aren't going to ask him to do that. But, that's something that he can do. But, the dribble handoff is something that Dwayne Casey loves to do. And I feel like, Marvin Bagley, he's going to, excel at that, just because, he's so versatile when it comes to being, athletic. So, then there's that. And then another thing that Coach Casey likes for his bigs to do, we've seen it with Trey Lyles and Kelly Olynyk. Sometimes they'll grab the rebound and, they'll grab the rebound and push the ball into transition. And it's going to help the Detroit Pistons, get more transition buckets, get into the offense quicker. And sometimes, it might even lead to a transition bucket for Marvin Bagley. So, it's going to be really, it's going to be really good for the Pistons to get him out there and get some rebounds, because he's going to push the break. And like I said, he's very, his skill set is very underrated. Like, he was a top 3 pick in the draft, I believe. I believe he either went number 2 or number 3. And his upside is very tremendous, and he's only 23 years of age, and I would still say his upside is tremendous. And this year he's averaging 9 points and 7 rebounds, which isn't too bad. And and I think he wants to be in here in Detroit. I think he's a player that's, hungry. And I honestly can't wait to see him with Cade Cunningham, because I think Cade is going to, unlock him. When you put a guy, when you have a guy like Cade Cunningham who can shoot the 3-ball like he can, who can play make like he is, and especially how crafty he is, a guy like Marvin Bagley is going to, he's going to feast off that. So I'm very excited with what the Detroit Pistons did at the trade deadline. And I can't wait to see Marvin Bagley suit up. He hasn't suited up yet. He's still transitioning, from his trade. So, we're going to keep an eye out on that. But, that's how I feel like the Detroit Pistons got better at the trade deadline. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like, comment down below how you feel about this trade. And then subscribe for more weekly content. We do this all the time. And that's curtains.